Alright, so since last time we looked at the Megaboss, I figured today we might as well look at the Megaboss on Mawkrusha. So they're actually two completely separate war scrolls. You got the Megaboss and then you got Gordrak. We'll take a look at that in... Well, let's take a look at these first. Get that out of the way. So, Gordrak, he's going to be your moneymaker in the army. I know a lot of people don't like using the named characters, and they prefer to, like, get, like, just the regular Megaboss and give them upgrades and stuff like that, because you can't give upgrades to the named lords, but, man, some of these named lords are just a lot of fun and just wicked. So, let's take a look at him. So, he's got wounds of 20, so already he's a beast. Bravery of 8, save of 4 up, and then move of star. So here's his damage table. So as he gets wounded, he loses movement. So he starts off with a base 12, goes down to 6. Mighty Fist and Tail starts as a 9, goes down to 6. That's going to be this attack here. We'll go into that in just a second. And then Destructive Bulk starts at a 4, goes down to a 1. There's this little caption there if you want to pause and read it. Alright, so let's talk about his attacks. So first off, he's got a missile weapon, Inner Bursting Roar. Basically, it just yells at things. Range of 8 inches, 6 attacks, 2 to hit, 3 to wound, rend of 1, and damage 1 apiece. So that thing just tears through a lot of stuff. Smasha and Cunning, those are going to be his 2 axes. 5 attacks apiece with 2 up and a 3 up on both of them. Rend of 1 on both and damage 2 apiece. So that's potentially 10 damage per weapon per attack. This thing can do an insane amount of damage real quick. And then Mighty Fist and Tail, I was very thankful when they, especially with the regular Megaboss, the old War Scroll was just, it just went on and on and on with attacks. Because, like, the tail would attack, and then his fists would attack, and then he would bite, and then I think he had a bite. I can't remember, actually. And then, like, here's the Orc's right-handed weapon, here's the Orc's left-handed weapon, and they simplified everything for this, and it's great. So the Mighty Fist and Tail started off with 9 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, 2 rend, and 3 damage apiece. So that's, let's see, 9 times 3 is 27. Plus the potential 20 damage with Smash and Cunning. So now we're up to 47. And potentially with the Roar, 53 damage. Like, if you get, like, the perfect rolls, you could potentially do 53 damage with this guy in a turn. It's just insane. That's going to wipe out a Mega Gargant. It's just going to mow through entire units of troops. It is just brutal. Which is exactly where he wants to be. This is why it's like, I always like to play with Gordrak. If I am sitting here like, do I go Gordrak or a Megaboss? Damage potential is just insane. Alright, so Warmaster, if this unit is included in an Orruk Warclan army, is treated as general even if it is not a model picked to be your army's general. That's a rule that I thought I understood, but I guess I don't, because I thought that meant you get extra command points, but then they, in one of the FAQs, they said it doesn't, so I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. If you got a different general and he's your general and it doesn't do any good, I don't see the point. But anyway. This unit can fly, because that's what you really need, is just big monster that can fly. Destructive Bulk. If you carry out a stop monstrous rampage with this unit and the enemy unit you pick suffers any mortal wounds, that enemy unit suffers an additional number of mortal wounds equal to the destructive bulk value of the unit's damage table. After all models slain by those mortal wounds have been removed from play, if there are no enemy models within 3 inches of the unit, you can move this unit D6 and then carry out another Stomp Monsters Rampage with the unit, even though you've already carried out a Stomp Monsters Rampage in that phase. So, so you do your stomp, which does damage. The Destructive Bulk will do damage. So, like, add another 4 onto it or whatever. And then you can potentially do it again and again and again. So, Smasha. If the unmodified wound roll of an attack made with Smasha is 4 up, and the target is a hero, but not a wizard, the target suffers 2 mortal wounds, and the attack sequence ends. Do not make save rolls. So if you get a 4 up when you're doing the attack, each 4 up you get is going to do 2 mortal wounds, rather than actually going through the regular combat. Cutting, same thing, but it needs to be target wizard instead of a hero. So this one's a hero killer, this is a wizard killer. Voice of Gork. When you pick this unit to issue a command, you can pick up to 3 friendly units to receive the command instead of 1, which again is great if you split up your army into smaller units. And Strength for Victory, much like the Megaboss. At the end of the combat phase, if any models were slain by a wound caused by an attack made by this unit in the combat phase, add 1 to the unit's wound characteristic and 1 to its attack characteristic of the unit's melee weapons, excluding those of its mount. Now, the way this is worded, and correct me if I'm wrong if they FAQ'd this, the way this makes it sound, if you kill, like let's say you kill an enemy wizard or something like that, so you add 1 to its wound characters, so now he's 21, and then you add 1 to the attack characteristics of his melee weapon. So Smash and Cunning both have 5 attacks. They're both his melee weapons. It doesn't say to the weapon used, just to his melee weapons. So then that would be a 6 and 6, rather than 5 and 5. So each one of those would go up. So potentially this thing is going to get even more deadly, especially if you swoop around and kill a bunch of little things and then go after something big. Whew. Yeah, tank. Massive birdie tank. Alright, now we got the Megaboss. So, I'm not going to read all of it because a lot of it's the same, but so he's got a base wounds of 18 instead of 20, save of 4 up, move 12, the same move characteristics from 12 down to 6. Bravery of 8. There's the little caption there if you want to pause and read. And attack characteristics. So we're going to compare him to Gordrak as we go as well. So he's got his his roar is 4 attacks. His is 6. And then the Mighty Fist and Tail start at 8 attacks and go down to 5. His start at 9, go down to 6. So 3 up, rend 2, damage 3 piece. That's all the same. Roar 2 up, 3 up, 2 up, 3 up. Rend 1, damage 1, damage 1. So past that, it's about the same. And then I believe, so he's got the same destructive bulk. And then strength of victory is also the same. So, and then he's got, let's see here. So you got 2 options. You got Boss, Gore, Haka, and Choppa. So that's going to be this guy and this little one. I was calling it a dagger in the Megaboss video, but I guess it's just a Choppa. Makes sense. So that one's got 9 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, rend of 1, damage 2 apiece. Then he's got Boss, Choppa, and Rip 2 Fist. So that's going to be this Choppa here with this hand here, and then there's a wrist or Rip Tooth Fist covering on one of the other frames. And that one's got 7 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, random 1, damage 2. So same attack characteristics, it's just 2 less than the Gorhaka. And then he does have shield. If this is armed with a boss Choppa and Rip Tooth Fist, it is a savior characteristic of 3 up instead of 4 up. So you make that choice if you want. Let's see here, mount, fly, same. So, yeah, and even the skull shattering bellow is the same as his, what is it? Voice of Gork. So you get a pretty similar profile with the two of them. Now, the one thing I don't like about this kit is the way it's built. It's hard to get a lot of distinctiveness in between the two. As you see, the Mawkrusha is exactly the same on either one. The only difference is this one doesn't have the little mask on, and this one does. Mawkrushas are identical. The base of the Orruk itself is also pretty much identical. They have different little iron jaw bits, different a little bit different arms and hands, and then different crescent. And then where these big teeth things are different, because he's got them on his torso, he's got them on the back. So you don't get a lot of variety out of it, not as much as I would prefer. So let's take a look at the frames. So you got the here's the covering on the Mawkrusha, left and right sides of his torso. Let's see here. There's the back plate with the little piece where you mount stuff on. There's got one here, and the other one's here. Shoulder pads, I believe, are the same for either kit. And then you got your variety of weapons, which we looked at, and there's the Gordrak head. Yeah, and there's some, his 2 weapons, Gordrak's weapons. And then we get the Mawkrusha frame. Now, there's not much to look at just because it's the way it's built. You got a couple little pieces here and here and here of like the actual Orruk stuff. There's the chains that keep the Orruk in place. The wings and stuff, they're folded up in a way where it's just kind of hard to get anything dynamic out of it. I've seen some people like really work their asses off to get a great looking pose, like where it's jumping or flying. And then the final frame here. You got some more Orruk bits, the wings and part of the head. But the way it's like deconstructed, it's kind of hard to tell what you're looking at until you actually take it out and put it together. So that's going to be my next step. I definitely, whether you take Gordrak or Megaboss, if you're looking at doing an Ironjaw's army, I highly recommend getting the Mawkrusha. It's going to be a game changer for you. These things are just beasts. They just tear through stuff. It's great. I love it. Point wise, let's see here. Point wise, Gordrak is 540 points, and the Mawkrusha is 480 points. So you got about a 60 point difference in between the two. but with the lowest priced thing in an Iron Jaws list being the Iron Skull Boys at 80, you're not gonna get anything different really out of the list. So like, this is the list I'm gonna be playing with for the most part. I've got Gordrak, 3 Megabosses, a War Chanter, 2 Shamans, a unit of 10 Ardboys. No, 15 Ardboys, right? That's 15. Yeah. And then 4 units of 5 Brutes, 4 units of 4 Gore-Gruntas, Iron Skull Boys, and Mawkrusha Crushers, which is exactly 3,000 points. So yeah, it's just like, it's a perfect balanced list for me. Because you gotta have your wizards in there. But we'll look at those kits later. But yeah, it's and then I do have a secondary Iron Jaws list. And in this one, I'm 2,995, and on this one I've got Gordrak, Megaboss on Mawkrusha, 2 Megabosses on foot, a War Chanter, 2 Shamans, 4 units of 5 Brutes, 4 units of the Gore-Gruntas, so no Ardboys, and then just the Iron Skull Boys, and no Mawkrusha Crushers. So yeah. Those are the lists I'm using currently with my Iron Jaws, or going to use once I get them all together, I should say. But yeah, let me get this together. We can take a look at this as a whole. Okay, so now that I've got the Mawkrushers put together, we can take a look at the figures, or the models. Now, I know this has been probably a pretty hard cut for you guys. So I filmed the first part of this video back at the beginning of October. It is currently beginning of November, because I knew these things were coming out only once a week, and I had time to kind of mess around with it. So yeah, and then my black background got damaged, so so I switched over to a white background, and now you're probably like, wait, what? That wasn't a very smooth transition. Well, that's the best I could do. And this is the only video that's going to do that in, because I was able to finish all the other videos prior to changing out the background, but it just took me a little bit longer to get to the second Mawkrusha. I had the first one done pretty quickly, but that second one took a little bit longer, just because I did not have time. Anyway, so the thing, like, I really like the Mawkrusha. I like the rules. I like the way it looks. My one issue with this is how you build them. They're essentially the exact same model, with variations on him, or on the Orruk just a bit, and a different headpiece for the Mawkrusha itself. But at the end of the day, there's really not a lot here that's different. So when you're, looking at, like, I'm one of those people that really like to have unique looking models, and when you've got two pretty much of the identical model, it's kind of hard for me to justify buying more than one, let alone more than two. There is another build option slightly with the Megaboss there. So he does. If you are good with magnets, I've done this before. You can drill out the wrist and magnetize the weapon, so you can kind of get the different types of weapons that he has. But at the end of the day, you're really looking at, you got the chop and the Riptooth Fist, or you've got the Gore Haka and smaller Choppa. So kind of up to you what you want to do. Since I gave the Gore Haka to the Megaboss on foot, I figured I should give him the Choppa, just to get a little more variation out of all the models. And then if you are good with conversions, you can get the axe from the Megaboss on foot onto this guy too. You just have to trim down the wrist a little bit, I believe. Anyway, so here he is. I did cut the chains off of this one just to kind of make him look a little bit more different than Gordrak, and then I also didn't put the teeth things. These two pieces are supposed to go along the top here, kind of pointed this way. I never really cared for that look, especially since Gordrak has the exact same things, but they're along his, going on either side of his head. So I figure, it's like, what, let's just ditch him. But yeah, it is a good kit. Don't get me wrong. I do like the kit. I just, let's see, he's got the little seat thing. And then Gordrak, the way you build him, he's not supposed to have the seat thing. So I figure, if he's got the seat, he can be sitting and he can be chained on. I'll just kind of go from there. It is a great looking kit. They are just devastating in combat. Highly recommend getting at least one of them. Maybe two, but I would draw the line at that. I would not recommend getting more than two. I did run a list once that had 4 in it, I believe. And you really have to go the cheapest battle line with stuff like that, and limited wizard capacity as well. It actually ended up being a detriment to me, because now I essentially have this super elite army, and these guys can't take as big of a pounding as other big monsters can. And once they were down, I was like, oh well, now I'm done. Like I thought I had my brother on the run there for a second. Then once the first one went down, he was like, "Oh, that's how you kill him." And I was like, "Oh no." Anyway, yeah, it's a great looking kit. I do like it. So that's the Megaboss, and then here's the Gordrak. Big difference is, he's got the little headpiece for the Mawkrusha. But outside of that, the Mawkrushas are exactly the same. You can decorate them with a couple little extra icons here and there if you want to, but at the end of the day, you're looking at the exact same kit. There's just no variations to the Mawkrusha. And then the Gordrak, he's got the same shoulder plates, same back plates, same torso, same legs. Big difference is he's got this little piece here that's attached onto his knee. Different weapons. The Gordrak axes and a different crest at the top. And of course he's got this little piece here as opposed to the jaw piece here. So yeah, it's a great looking kit. For the price, it's a pretty big kit too. So I do recommend it for that, and they're devastating in combat. But I would draw the line at maybe 2 of them. And then real quick, the way they describe on how to build it, and I wish I would have done this on camera, but it would have just taken too long. They essentially have you build like the left side and then the right side of the body, and have you glue it together. And that's what I did with the Gordrak. And if you look closely, you can see that there's some gappage here and there. It did not go together very smoothly. Now this one, instead of building the left side and then building the right, attaching them together, what I did was I just went piece by piece, left, right, and just kind of went along that way. And it went together so much smoother and almost seamless. It was a really better way to build it. So when you do build one, I recommend, looking at your instructions, of course. You want to make sure you're doing it right. But just go left, right, and just kind of slowly build it up from there, as opposed to trying to do it the way they say. And they also, there is this, I think it's this wing bit here, or maybe it was this one, but one of the wing bits is mislabeled. Let me see if I can grab the instructions real quick, see if I can point that out. Yeah, so here 18 goes on to 19, and then this says 21. You see 19 is here too. So the little claw is actually the 19. This is 20. I believe that's. I mean, it's not a huge error, but and then I also would recommend once you get this piece here together, glue this onto the arm and then attach this, because once you have the full wing, it's hard to kind of wrap it around the way it needs to, and then you could just glue this one on afterwards, and then I would recommend gluing them to the base at the end, but yeah, see here it's saying like pretty much build the whole wing and put it on. I would do about the first two pieces and then glue that on and then glue the last piece on. This one's a little bit more challenging than this one is, but anyway, it's a great kit. Like I said, it's devastating. I just played a game with my brother not too long ago with Gordrak, and he was the star of the game. He mowed through so many vampires. It was just amazing just to sit back and watch and I just loved it. I loved every second of it. It was great. But yeah, I guess that's all I got, and we'll see how all these videos turn out once everything is put together.